Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. The topic for our today's lecture is National Income Determination in Three Sector Closed Economy. Before this lecture, we have studied the National Income Equilibrium Formula in two sector economy where there were only two type of planned expenditure, that were consumption expenditure and the investment expenditure. But today we will include in our two sector model the government. The model will be converted to three sector, but still it will be a closed economy because still we haven't allowed the import and export in the our economy structure. So the aggregate planned expenditure will be equal to now C plus I plus G, which were previously only C plus I, because government is a very important factor in the economy. It plays its role in two ways in the economy. That's why it is important to include government in the economic structure. The first is that nowadays the uncoordinated efforts of the businessman and the producer and consumer create a lot of variation and fluctuation in the economic activity, mean output and employment. So government is necessary to stabilize the economy that is in fluctuation due to the trade cycle. On one part, government reduces the fluctuation in the national income, output and employment and ensure the certainty in the economy. On the other hand, the modern day governments spends a lot of money on providing the basic necessity to its citizens, like basic education, basic health facilities, basic transportation, security. So government has to do a lot of expenditures. For that purpose, government has to collect taxes. So government intervene into the economic activity and raise its taxes from the economic activity, and in turn these taxes are spent on the welfare of the citizens of a country. So it is necessary that the government should be the part of the economy. Uh, how government intervene in the economy, how government alter the income, output and employment in the economy. We will study in the next slide. We start from the slide now. Slide number 1, national income determination in three sector closed economy. As the world economies witnesses a huge fluctuation in the output and employment, moreover the role of the government in providing basic services has increased, so it is necessary for the government to act like stabilizer of the economy and to raise sufficient revenues to provide basic needs of the society. Adding the government to the planned expenditure of the economy, we get three sector closed economy. The government can influence the aggregate demand and planned expenditure through changes in the following. How government now intervene into the economy? How government stabilizes, promote the economic activity in the economy? There are basic 5 ways through which government intervene into the economy. Number one, government increases its expenditure and hence provide a stimulus to the economy, and a direct stimulus to the economy where economic activity will be boom. Number one, government expenditure on goods and services, right? These have a direct impact on the planned expenditure that will increase the planned expenditure income and output. Number two, government taxes. as government taxes will reduce the um, profit of the producers as well as the disposable income of the consumer, that will indirectly reduce the planned expenditure and hence the income and employment. If government give tax concession to the producer and consumer, it will promote the national income and employment. So government can use taxes and its expenditure to stabilize the economy, to promote output, income and employment in the economy. The third way that government can intervene in the economy is the transfer payments and subsidies. As we previously know that transfer payment are those payments which are transferred to the citizen without uh, doing any job, and these transfer payments are like Benazir income support program, scholarships to the needy, or zakat funds to the poor peoples, and subsidies are the basics concession that government offer to the business activities or the producer. So through transfer payments and subsidies, government also promote the output and employment of the economy. Hence, government intervene through transfer payments and subsidies. Number four, changes in money supply. Government can also intervene in the economy through increase or decrease in the money supply. How government intervene? If government reduces the money supply in the economy, it will increase the interest rate, and in turn the interest rate will reduces the planned expenditure on the investment and planned expenditure on the consumption. So indirectly it will affect the economy, and if economy reduces the planned expenditure on the investment and the consumption, so national income, output and employment will decrease, or conversely will increase, vice versa. Number five, issuance of bond. Through issuance of bond, government may stabilize, maintain, and regulate the liquidity in the market. If government sell bond in the market, it's mean that government is mopping the liquidity from the market. Government is sucking the money from the market. And if government buy bonds, it's mean that government is throwing money into the market. The action of the government of selling or buying the bond will reduces or increases the liquidity in the market, which in turn will affect the interest rate, and hence the interest rate will affect the consumption and investment expenditure in the economy, and hence that will affect the national income and employment of the economy. So there are five basic ways we studied that how government can intervene into the economy. Like previously we studied that uh, national income will be in equilibrium at that point where the aggregate planned expenditure are equal to aggregate actual expenditure, and this is the basic equilibrium. Now we will determine this national income equilibrium in three sector economy. Previously we have determined the national income equilibrium in two sector economy. Now we state that this is a point where y is equal to c plus I plus g, or aggregate planned expenditure are equal to aggregate actual expenditure. The economy will be stable and there will be no inflationary or deflationary gap. In case if aggregate planned expenditure are not equal to aggregate actual expenditure, for example, if aggregate reading from the slide now, if aggregate planned expenditure are greater than aggregate actual expenditure, the economy will experience inflationary gap where the planned expenditure are greater than the actual expenditure. What will happen? The output and employment will increase because the demand will be higher than the supply, until where the aggregate planned expenditure equalizes the aggregate actual expenditure. Again, if aggregate planned expenditure are less than aggregate actual expenditure, then there exists a deflationary gap, and where the demand for goods and services is less than its supply, the national income, output and employment will shrink until that point where again the aggregate planned expenditure are equal to aggregate actual expenditure. But where both are equal, it means that is equilibrium point, and that is the stable point where there is no inflationary and deflationary gap. As we know, this point of equilibrium is called Keynesian cross. To calculate the equilibrium in three-sector economy, there are also two methods. Previously, we have studied these two methods. To calculate the national income equilibrium or to determine the national income in three-sector economy also have two approaches. The one approach is national one approach is income and expenditure method, and the second approach is leakages and injection methods. Uh, we will use both of these methods to determine the national income equilibrium in three sector economy. We will determine the national income equilibrium and analyze our basic phenomena of these two methods. We will use 5 steps. uh, Reading from the slide number 4, we will explain both the methods in 5 steps, which are: number 1, first, what will we do? Number 1, we will mathematically derive the formula of national income equilibrium in three sector economy where aggregate plan expenditure are equal to aggregate actual expenditure. Number 2, we will then uh, briefly explained the national income equilibrium with a numerical and specific example for both methods. Thirdly, we will explain the equilibrium of national income through graph for both income and expenditure method and leakages and injection method. Number 4, we will do a comparative static analysis of the national income equilibrium through graph and mathematically as well. Mean that the comparative static analysis state that if an equilibrium is established, then if government expenditure changes or consumption expenditure changes or taxes changes or investment changes, what will be the impact on national income and employment? That we will discuss in comparative static analysis of the equilibrium. And lastly, we will derive the multipliers. Previously we studied about the multipliers. We stated that an increase in the any type of planned expenditure will increase the national income, but the increase in national income will be much larger than the initial increase in any type of expenditure. That phenomena is termed as multiplier effect. We will derive a multiplier in the last step for consumption, for investment, for government expenditure, and for taxes with both approaches, right? Number 1, now we coming towards the one mathematical derivation of the formulas of national income equilibrium. We will derive the formulas for national income equilibrium through both methods. Through A, through income and expenditure method, and B, leakages and injection methods. We start with the A now, where we use income and expenditure method. Uh, basically we have stated that uh, need brush, right. Basically we have stated that the equilibrium of the economy will be at that point where aggregate aggregate planned expenditure equalizes the aggregate actual expenditure. This is the basic formula. Now we knows here that the aggregate planned expenditure are equal to C plus I plus G, while the aggregate actual expenditure are equal to the Y, right? And the equilibrium of the national income through income and expenditure method will be at that point where y is equal to c plus I plus g. As we know, y is equal to aggregate planned actual expenditure and c plus I plus g is equal to aggregate planned expenditure. So economy will be in equilibrium at that point where y is equal to c plus I plus g. Before putting the values of consumption, investment, and government expenditure in this equation and to derive the equilibrium national income, we will review the concept of consumption function, investment function, and government expenditure function. Let's suppose that c is equal to function of yd. Here c is the function of yd. Before we have studied c is a function of y. Here y it is yd. Now the consumer cannot spend all of his income which he earned, but before spending his income the consumer has to pay the taxes to the government. So yd, that is the net income after deduction of the tax. Here we see that the formula of the yd is written here. Yd is equal to y minus t, and the consumption function has two components as previously we have studied. Consumption function is equal to c naught plus mpcy where c naught is autonomous consumption and mpcy are the induced consumption. The smaller c is mpc and c naught is the autonomous consumption. And what it mean by autonomous consumption? Autonomous consumptions are those consumption which doesn't depends on national level of income. We take a specific consumption function. C is equal to 40 plus 0.6 yd, and yd is equal to y minus t. Here 40 is autonomous consumption, and this consumption has nothing to do with the national income level of the consumer. It will remain fixed within, and 0.6 is the mpc which state that the 60% of the increased income will go towards the consumption. We have portrayed this consumption function on the graph. Here we see that on horizontal axis we have income of the consumer, and on vertical axis we have consumption of the consumer. And this is a consumption curve. Here we see that it doesn't start from the origin, because at zero income there is a consumption, that is the autonomous consumption, that is 40. Even at zero consumption, the zero income, the consumption of the consumer will not equal to zero, but it will be 40, that will be used for the basic needs. And this consumption curve slope is equal to marginal propensity to consume, and which state that how much consumption will change by 1 unit change in the income. And the consumption function is here portrayed on this two axis graph, where c is equal to 40 plus 0.65. This is the basic consumption function. uh, Keep in mind that we are going to determine the equilibrium level of national income through income and expenditure approach, where we have stated that national income equilibrium will be at that point where y is equal to c plus I plus g. And we have defined the consumption function. Now we define the other two function. In this um model, here we assume that I is also autonomous and G is also autonomous. What is autonomous variable? Autonomous variable is that variable whose value cannot be determined through model, and whose value doesn't depend upon the national income, and the value of investment and government expenditure will be given to us, because model cannot calculate the value of autonomous variable. model can only calculate the values of endogenous variable, that is dependent variable. Here we assume that the investment and government functions are autonomous, and there are only lump sum taxes. Now there is a government. Of course, if there is a government, there will be taxes. So we assume three things here: that investment function is also autonomous, mean that I is equal to I naught. Here we see that I is equal to I naught, and I naught is not dependent on income level. So we can see from the graph that on horizontal axis there is income, and on vertical axis there is investment, while we see here along with the increase or decrease in national personal income or national income, sorry, there is no change in the investment. So I is equal to I naught, mean that it is fixed, autonomous, and doesn't depends upon the level of income. So G is also is equal to G naught. Government expenditure also does not depends upon the level of national income. Again, we stated that T is equal to T naught, mean there are no induced taxes. It's mean that taxes are not increasing or decreasing along with the national increase and decrease in the national income. They remain fixed. They are lump sum tax, fixed taxes. Here we portrayed the government expenditure on the graph. On horizontal axis we see here this is the national income, and on vertical axis we see there are government expenditure, and we see the government expenditure doesn't increase or decrease along with the increase or decrease in the national income. So government expenditure will remain fixed, and these are the autonomous. Again we stated T is equal to also T naught, that is also autonomous. Now we have defined all the variables in the income and expenditure model. Now we put the values of these variables into the formula and to derive the national income equilibrium formula for three sector economy through income and expenditure approach. The equilibrium equation in three sector economy is, that is this one: y is equal to c plus I plus g. And here we have defined, I have also given the information here. What is C is equal to C naught plus CYD, mean that C has two component, induced and autonomous. I is I naught, that is fixed, that is autonomous. G is G naught. Here yd is equal to, the value of yd in consumption function is y minus t naught, because t is t naught, that is lump sum taxes. Again there are no transfer payment. For the time being we assume for the simplicity that our model has no transfer payment and our model has no induced taxes. In our next analysis we will also incorporate the transfer payments and induced taxes in the national income equilibrium formula, but for time being, to keep the model simple, we doesn't use them. Now we put the values of these variable c, I and g into the model. We see here that the value of c is c naught plus cyd. We have put in this here c naught plus cyd, and I is I naught as we know, and g is g naught as we know. Uh, in the second step we see here that we put the value of yd in the model. Y is equal to c naught plus c into y minus t naught plus I naught plus g naught. In the third step we have multiplied the MPC with the within the bracket. Here y is equal to c naught plus cy minus ct naught plus I naught plus g naught. And now we will take the y from left hand side to the, sorry, from the right hand side of the equation to the left hand side, to combine the y all y's. So cy that was the on the right hand side, when taken to the left hand side become minus cy, that is y minus cy. and all other variable are on the right hand side of the equation. That's C naught plus I naught plus G naught minus CT naught. Now from the left hand side we see here y can be taken as common. We have taken y as common, and in bracket there will be 1 minus MPC, that is equal to C naught plus I naught plus G naught minus CT naught. Again, to calculate the equilibrium level of national income, we divide both sides by 1 minus MPC, and that the final equation for national income equilibrium will become y is equal to, in equilibrium national income is equal to C naught plus I naught plus G naught minus CT naught divided by 1 minus MPC. This This equation is the equilibrium national income equation where there is no inflation and deflation. Now we derive the national income equilibrium equation with leakages and injection methods. You must memorize these uh, national income equilibrium equations, that in three sector economy with no transfer payments and no induced taxes, autonomous investment, autonomous government expenditure, and autonomous taxes, the formula will be such like this: YE is equal to C naught plus I naught plus G naught minus CT naught divided by 1 minus MPC. And the formula, now we derive the same formula with leakages is equal to injection approach. Right, Ji, we have previously derived the formula of national income equilibrium in two sector economy with leakages is equal to injection method. But at that time, the economy was two sector economy where there were only two variable and where there is one leakage, that was saving, and there was one injection, that was investment. But here there are two leakages and two injections in our three sector economy model. We start reading on page number 8B, national income equilibrium with leakages and injection method. The method states that the national income will be in equilibrium where leakages are exactly equal to the injections. There will be leakages is equal to injection. At that point where leakages are equal to injection, there will be no inflationary gap or deflationary gap. Previously, in two sector economy, the leakages were only saving while the injections were only investment. But in three sector economy, there are two type of leakages. One leakage is saving, right? Here we see saving, that is S, and the S is the function of YD, positive function, and the other leakage is taxes. And there are two type of injections as well. The one is investment. We have assumed already in our analysis that investment is autonomous function, and we have also assumed that there is another type of injection, that is government expenditure, and which is also an autonomous function. Going ahead, we have already studied, we are now at page number 9. We have studied that the equilibrium will be at that point where leakages are equal to injection, and we have stated there are two type of leakages. Leakages are saving and taxes, while injection are investment and government expenditure. S plus T is equal to I plus G. Before putting the values of these variable into this equilibrium equation, we slightly define these variable: saving, taxes, investment, and government expenditure. Here we assume that S is equal to positive function of disposable income, and YD is equal to Y minus T. And the saving function, we have previously studied that it is the standard form of the saving function. S is equal to minus S naught plus MPS into YD, right? Uh, why intercept is in minus? Because when income is zero, people will dissave, mean that they will borrow. Hence, their saving at zero income will be in minus. So that's why this autonomous saving are in minus. And a specific saving function we have taken here, s is equal to minus 40 plus 0.4 yd, mean that autonomous saving or minus 40 mean consumer will borrow 40 rupees when he has zero income for his basic needs. And 0.4 is mpc, which state that if consumer income increases by 1 unit or 1 rupee, the consumer will save out of that increased rupee 0.4 rupee, and 0.6 rupee he will spend. Now we have uh, illustrated the saving function with the graph. Here we see that on horizontal axis there is disposable income, and on vertical axis there are saving, right? Here we see that saving will be negative at zero income. When income is zero, there are minus 40 saving, mean the consumer is this saving, he has borrowed 40 rupees for his basic needs. And as income increases, here we see that when we move right side of on the horizontal axis, saving increases, and this is an upward going saving function where saving s is equal to function of yd, and s is equal to minus s naught plus mps yd, and the specific saving function is s is equal to minus 40 plus 0.4 yd. Now we are at slide number 10. Here we assume that investment, government expenditure, and taxes are autonomous. Indeed, we assume that these variable doesn't depends upon the national income. Uh, I is equal to I naught, that is not function of y and autonomous. G is equal to G naught, that is not function of income, that is also autonomous. T is equal to T naught, that is not function of income, and taxes are lump sum. Now putting the values of these variables into the basic equation of the leakages is equal to injection, the basic equation is S plus T is equal to I plus G. Putting the value of S, we have previously stated that S is equal to minus S naught plus MPCYD, plus the value of T is T naught is equal to the value of I is I naught, and the value of G is G naught, because these are autonomous. Uh, Putting the value of yd in the equation, minus s naught mpc, and the yd is equal to y minus t plus t naught is equal to I naught plus g naught. Now in the next step, we will multiply mpc into the bracket, and into the bracket and minus s naught plus mpc into y minus mpc into t, that is t naught, plus t naught is equal to I naught plus G naught. Now we take all those variable from left hand side to the right hand side except that which contain y. We have already here I naught plus G naught to the left, so right side of the equation. We take T naught to the right side, which will be minus T naught. We have taken the S naught to the right side, which will become positive S naught, and we have to take minus MPS T naught to the right side, which will become positive MPS T naught. Now MPS Y is equal to I naught plus G naught plus S naught minus T naught plus MPS T naught. To calculate the equilibrium level of income, we will divide both sides by MPS, and the national income equilibrium through leakages is equal to injection method will become YE is equal to I naught plus G naught plus S naught minus T naught plus MPS T naught divided by MPS. Now we have derived the national income equilibrium formula for both a national income and expenditure method, and the leakages is equal to injection method. And now we'll take some specific uh, numerical example to calculate the national income equilibrium value from the derived formulas. On 11 slide number 11, we are going to do the step 2, where we will take some specific numerical example to calculate the national income equilibrium level from the formulas we have derived. Reading the slide number 11, now we take specific numerical example to derive hypothetical national income equilibrium with both methods, and in next step we will explain these national income equilibrium uh, specific example through graph. We have here given some given information are on the left side of this slide. The information are given. C is equal to function of YD, that is positive function of disposable income, and C is equal to C naught plus CYD, and the specific consumption function here C is equal to 40 plus 0.65 T. I is equal to I naught, that is equal to 100, G is equal to G naught, that is equal to 100, T is equal to T naught, that is equal to 30, and there is no small ty, mean there is no induced taxes. Induced taxes are equal to 0, and there is no TR, that are transfer payments. Here transfer payment are also equal to 0. We will put these values into the equation that we have derived the national income equilibrium equation through income and expenditure method. Keep in mind that all these figures that we have taken here are in billion PKR, billion Pakistani rupees. For example, investment is equal to I naught is equal to 100, mean that investment is 100 billion PKR. So on the same slide, we see here that national income equilibrium formula through income expenditure approaches. YE is equal to C naught plus I naught plus G naught minus MPC T naught divided by 1 minus MPC. Putting the numerical value here, YE is equal to C naught is equal to 40, I naught is 100, G naught is also 100, minus MPS is 0.6, sorry, MPC is 0.6, and T naught here is 30 billion, divided by 1 minus MPC, and the value of MPC is 0.6. Adding all the three, C naught, I naught, G naught, that will become 240, minus multiplying 0.6 by 30 will be 18, divided by 1 minus 0.6, that will be equal to 0.4. Here national income equilibrium is equal to 222 divided by 0.4, and that will be equal to 2220 divided by 4. Dividing this sum by 4, the answer will be YE is equal to 555 billion PKR. So this is the equilibrium national income with income and expenditure method. We have taken a numerical specific example, and we have derived the national income equilibrium through income and expenditure approach. Now we take a specific numerical example on slide number 12, hypothetical example for national income equilibrium with leakages and injection method. We have previously declared that the national income equilibrium will be at that point where leakages are equal to injection. Mean S plus T, there are two leakages in three sector economy, will be equal to I plus G, there are two injection in the three sector economy. On the left hand side, I have given the specific information for this model. S is equal to minus S naught plus MPSYD, and YD is equal to Y minus T naught. S is equal to the specific saving function is equal to minus 40 plus 0.4 yd, t is equal to t naught, that is autonomous, I is equal to I naught, that are autonomous, g is equal to g naught. Here I is equal to I naught is equal to 100, G is equal to G naught is equal to 100, and T is equal to T naught is equal to 30. The same numerical example previously taken. And there are no transfer payments, no induced taxes, and taxes are lump sum. Here we see that we have taken the we have put all the numerical values into this national income equilibrium formula that we have previously derived. YE is equal to I naught plus G naught plus S naught minus T naught plus MPS T naught divided by MPS. Putting the values, I naught is 100 in our hypothetical numerical example, G naught is also 100, we have put 100, S naught is 40, right? And T naught is 30, taxes, autonomous lump sum taxes are 30, plus MPS is 0.4 into T naught is 30, divided by 0.4, that is MPS. We have added the 100, that is 240, minus 30 plus multiplying 0.4 into 30 is 12, and divided by 0.4. If we uh, subtract 30 from 240, it will be 210, and then we add 12 into 10, that will be 222 divided by 0.4, and dividing 222 by 0.4, the national income equilibrium level will be 555. As we have seen here that the we have calculated the national income with two different approaches. One is injection, one is income and expenditure approach, and the other is leakages is equal to injection approach. But we have seen here we arrived at the same numerical value for the national income equilibrium. National income equilibrium in three sector economy with leakages equal to injection method we have calculated. Now we are going to the third phase of our analysis on slide number 13. Now we will explain both these equilibrium on graph. We will show on the graph that where is national income equilibrium through leakages is equal to injection methods and income and expenditure approach. I am reading from slide number 13. Now we show the equilibrium with both methods with graph. A, the one that is income and expenditure method, and through income and expenditure method we have stated that equilibrium is at that point where aggregate actual expenditure are equal to aggregate planned expenditure, and aggregate actual expenditure is equal to Y, and aggregate planned expenditure is equal to C plus I plus G. And we here see that the national income equilibrium formula is Y is equal to C plus I plus G. This is the basic graph for showing the national income equilibrium. Here we see that on horizontal axis there is Y, that is aggregate expenditure actual, and on vertical axis we have aggregate planned expenditure, and we have see here that aggregate planned expenditure are equal to C plus I plus G. Here are two curve, basically one curve that is starting from the origin O, which is double line, that is equal to aggregate actual expenditure, that is equal to Y, and the other curve that intersect the Y, the origin curve, that is the aggregate planned expenditure curve, which contain C plus I plus G, right? And the national income will be in equilibrium here where their aggregate planned expenditure equalizes the aggregate actual expenditure, or in a graph where aggregate planned expenditure curve C plus I plus G curve intersect the aggregate actual expenditure curve at point E. So at point E there is equilibrium, and at equilibrium we have YE, that is 555 billion pkr. Here this is a point, equilibrium point, where there is no inflationary gap and there is no deflationary gap, mean that the economy will be stable and there is no tendency to move from the equilibrium point, and economy will remain in equilibrium in stable condition unless it is shaked by some certain shock. Uh, Now we can also clarify from here the inflationary and deflationary gaps. Let me suppose that economy is not at equilibrium, that economy is below its equilibrium level. uh, Mean that the national income is at output and employment is at below YE, that is YC prime. Here we see near the origin YC prime, and here we see that the current output level YC prime, sorry, YC prime is less than equilibrium level of output and employment. And whenever the equilibrium current output is less than the equilibrium level of output, then there occur a deflationary gap. And why it is called deflationary gap? No, sorry, it is not a deflationary gap, it is an inflationary gap. Why it is called inflationary gap? Because here we see A and B point. Here our planned expenditure are greater than the actual expenditure. Whenever the planned expenditure are greater than the actual expenditure, it means demand is greater than supply. So whenever the planned expenditure are greater than the actual expenditure, the output and employment will flourish. Output and employment will increase, and economy will move upward from A to E and from B to E, and the economy will flourish, output and employment will increase until it reach to the equilibrium where again the planned expenditure are equal to the actual expenditure. And the area of A, B and E is termed as inflationary gap. Here the deflationary gap is written mistakenly. Again, if we see, the national income is not in equilibrium and it is above the equilibrium, it is to the right side of the equilibrium at YC double prime. Here we see that the aggregate planned expenditure are less than the aggregate actual expenditure. Aggregate planned expenditure at point D, while the actual expenditure are at C point. Whenever the demand will be less than supply, what will happen? The prices will fall, the profit of the producer will fall, and producer will reduce the output level, which will reduce the employment level, and the national income and employment will shrink. And it will shrink until it reaches the point E, where again the planned expenditure are equal to actual expenditure and national income will be in equilibrium. The area of EDC, the shaded area, is termed as deflationary gap. This was the graphical presentation of the national income equilibrium through income and expenditure method, and we have also explained here the inflationary and deflationary gap. Now we study on slide number 15 the national income equilibrium graphical presentation through leakages and injection method, and we have already stated that the leakages are equal to saving, and taxes and injection are investment and government expenditure. Where both are equal, the economy will be in equilibrium, and the equilibrium point is that where there is no tendency for changing in the output and employment, where there is no inflationary and deflationary gap. Here in the graph we see the on the horizontal axis we see that there is again the actual y I mean that actual expenditure, and on vertical axis there are a planned expenditure, there are leakages and injections, mean that S, T, I and G on vertical, and while on horizontal there is a YA. We see here that the horizontal line is the investment and government expenditure curves. We have added the I naught and G naught, and we already stated that the I naught and G naught are autonomous, and collectively they are 200. There must be written on that start of the graph 200, right? And the curve that is starting from the minus going upward is the leakages curve, and we have stated that the economy will be equilibrium at that point where the leakages curve intersect the injections curve. At point E, here we see that there is an equilibrium where the leakages are equal to the injections, and there is no inflationary or deflationary gap, and economy is stable equilibrium, and the equilibrium national income is 555 billion pkr. Now, we assume that if income is less than the equilibrium level of income, that is y current income, y prime, where the current income is less than the equilibrium income, here there is again the deflationary gap, and because injection are at A and leakages are at B, so here is inflationary gap, and the economy will move towards the E point, right? Because the aggregate demand is higher than the aggregate supply, and economy will flourish, output and employment will increase until the leakages are equal to injection. The shaded area of A, B and E is inflationary gap. Again, if the current output is greater than the equilibrium output, and at YC double prime, where we see that leakages are greater than injection, and here lies the deflationary gap, and the national income and output will shrink, output and employment will decrease here, and until it reach to at that point where leakages are equal to injection. Here we see that the area CDE, the shaded area, is termed as deflationary gap. Uh, so we have analyzed today the two methods of national income determination for three sector economy. We have derived the formulas for national income equilibrium in three sector with income and expenditure method and the leakages is equal to injection methods. We have also taken a numerical example for them. Again, we have also stated the equilibrium through graphs. Uh, in next class, we will uh, calculate the multipliers for consumption expenditure, for investment expenditure, for government expenditure, and for taxes. And we will derive the formulas for the multiplier with both the methods, income expenditure method and the leakages is equal to injection method. And then we will show the impact of changes in the multiplier impact of changes in the consumption, investment, government expenditure and taxes on national income through graph. That will be the comparative static analysis of our three sector economy model, and we will meet in the next class with the multipliers and comparative static analysis of the three sector economy. Until then, Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.